car park raves to festivals. I just stopped doing one thing and continued to do the other.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our guest tonight, Skrillex.
I've been making music because it's made me happy ever since I was, I had this harmonica when I was like 2 years old, and I always played, it was always in my mouth. Just probably the most annoying thing anybody's ever heard, just blowing in and out of this harmonica, you know what I mean? Just like the same two notes. And I loved it. Growing up in Los Angeles, around the age 12 through 13 and 14, I went to a lot of punk shows and hardcore shows and played in lots of punk bands growing up. I didn't really understand dance music until, even to me, like Prodigy and stuff like that wasn't dance music to me. Like, I wasn't going to raves. It wasn't until Daft Punk and Justice where I really understood like dance floor music, and then it wasn't until Archangel where I really understood dubstep. It was actually going to 12 Planets. He's been throwing a night called Smog in LA for years and years. It was all about the Bay Area. As far as me playing and making electronic music and touring and DJing goes, like 2008, I was doing like Mexico, and it was mostly electro. The dubstep bits of my set were a bit more like, you had to be really selective when you played dubstep because nobody really knew what it was, and a lot of times it was kind of a floor stopper, you know what I mean? 2009 is when I first started to kind of really tour. I actually toured all over Europe. I played at the Underworld in Camden, like downstairs, like. It's definitely changed a lot now that bass music is kind of like now the highlight of a lot of things that are going on, especially in the United States, whereas before it was like you had to really figure out and like tastefully choose the right parts of your set to drop, those sort of records. This year, and then I think where the EDM scene has gone is it really does feel like a big family, Every time you walk into a festival, it's like, you get to see all your friends again. One of the highlights of this year is like, for me, is standing back and just being a fan and really loving this type of music, and then feeling like you're really part of a movement together and with all these amazing people. Sometimes when you're doing fly dates and you're traveling, you're touring, it can get kind of like, it's great, and don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining, but it gets really lonely, it's very exhausting, very hard. And you can ask anybody that tours as much as I do. I mean, 322 shows just in 2011. It's like, you don't have time to really spend your money, you don't have time to think about how, like, anything is going, because it's continuing, it's constant production, you're constantly making things, so it's the most rewarding thing ever, you know what I mean? It's like, if it's not fun, if it's not a good time, if a party doesn't, then I don't want it, it's not about, then don't do it, you know what I mean? It's not a job, it should be something you enjoy. And to see it grow and have success, you just want to work harder and make it better, Even if you're not working with someone, it's a collaborative motion because you're bouncing off ideas with these machines or these sounds, right? And it's kind of like it starts from one little idea, and you never know where it's going. It's like if you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, hey, what about this? If I feel like one melody and I play a certain chord and the sound might inspire something else, a different melody because the sound or whatever. Maybe I'm just making a drum loop. There's no real way it starts. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's a collaborative thing even when you're alone because you're working with intuitive kind of bits that are almost moving anyway. The most interesting part and the unique part is just that I don't have a studio or anything or even technically a home, So I'm always doing it like headphones and hotel rooms and airplanes. So it's crazy. Like there's no real comfortable studio where I get to sit back and like, which I hopefully one day I'll have. When I play live, I don't have a set list, depending if I'm, whether I'm playing on Ableton Live or CDs or whatever, like, for the most part, it's just, I'm getting new tracks every day anyway and making new tracks, so it's always sort of changing, you know what I mean? When you go to different parts of the world, too, there's certain things that work better than other places as well, you know what I mean? Like, you can't play as much hip-hop in the UK. You can play a lot more hip-hop in the States, but then certain things, you can't play as much drum and bass in the States, but you can play more drum and bass in the UK. It just really depends, you know, which makes it exciting and fun. Yeah, the Warehouse Project in Manchester was a really crazy crowd. I love the old sort of car park rave vibe it has, you know, under like the brick, and it just looks really surreal, you know, and it was cool, man. It was a cool group of people, and you know, a lot of friends came out to that one too, which is really, really cool. The coolest part about the Grammys, being nominated, for me, I realized how many people really care about me and how many people really support me amongst my peers and my friends. And I'm proud because there's a lot of people in my scene that are proud of me, so I feel proud of them. I feel like it's their Grammy. I feel like it's 12 Planets Grammy. I feel like it's, you know, everybody in the UK that I made friends with, you know, have been doing this longer than I have. I feel like it's their Grammy and everybody's Grammy. I feel like it's my manager's Grammy. He's stuck by me since I was 16. We don't have, obviously we don't have a BBC in America, but we don't have something like the BBC in America. Like, mainstream radio, sorry if I'm offending anybody that's a mainstream DJ, aren't real DJs. They're not taste-making music, they're not picking music. We don't have anybody like Annie Mac or Zane Lowe or Mr. Jam, and the list goes on, that are like digging through the blogs and SoundClouds and somehow finding this new music and discovering stuff and backing it, and then, you know, like the fact that Roughneck Full Flex got A-listed on a mainstream radio station, which never happened in the United States. So it's really, to be honest, a real honor and pleasure to be part of anything you guys do, because I know you guys do it because you're interested and like what you guys do. What excites me about the future is that anything could happen. Exciting thing about this ride is it's expect the unexpected. Like, that's been this whole year for us. Anything really can happen, like, as long as you work hard and we keep doing what we're doing. We're working hard, but we'd be working hard anyway because we love the music, right? Oh, come in.